Today's video is about 3 different ways you can play over minor swing. Approach 1, the simplest of all, use one scale, the A harmonic minor. If you want one scale to fit over all of this, then you can use the A harmonic minor. So here it is in 2 octaves. A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A. Same in the next octave. So intervals wise, we've got root, second, minor third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, we've got our sixth there, major seventh, back to root. And it's containing all the notes of the main chords in this song. So we've got A, C, E for A minor, D, F, A for D minor, which is practically the head, E7, E, G sharp, B, D. So those are the main, the main chords in the song. So we've got all the notes we need there, which is great, which is why this scale will work really well. So I'll put my backing track on now, which I'll link in the description beneath. Now let me just target the root first, then maybe the root in the third, and then maybe bring in a bit of the scale as well. So A chord, we want the note A, going to D minor, to E7, back to an A, now let's go to a D, find an A, find an E, C, D and F, root in third, E and G sharp, root in third, root in third, A and C, F, D, C, A, G sharp, B, C, A. Then we can go to the fifth, that's E, C, A, F, D, and let's go B, G sharp, E, E, C, A, F, D, A, C, A, E. Now go bit scale, but thinking of those notes as well. D, E, higher up. D, up to F, A, E, G sharp, A. So as you can hear there, I'm trying to follow the chords as I play. I started off very simply. When it was an A chord, I found an A, goes to a D chord, find a D, find an E when it goes to the E chord, and then actually doing that all over the neck, that's quite a thing in itself. That really tests your fretboard knowledge of just those 3 notes. Then you can bring in the third, bring in the fifth, maybe, A, C, D, F, E, G sharp, and playing that in the other order. So instead of going A, C, go C, A, that type of thing. So that scale will work really well over all of it, but you're going to need to find the notes of the chords within it to make it work with the track. If you play your scale without an awareness of how those notes are relating to the chords, as in which notes are in the chords and which ones are not, then you just won't have this nice synergy with the backing track or with whoever you're playing with. It will sound like 2 disconnected things that you can't kind of put your finger on what's wrong. Are the people playing the wrong chords, or is it what the soloist is doing? And it's because the soloist isn't finding the notes of the chords. And not that you always have to find the notes, but they create an outline of them which works well. And if you've got that strong lines as a result of that, you can bring in other more interesting sounds from the scale or from chromaticism or whatever it might be. So that's just one scale you can use, and you can say something with that scale. There's nothing wrong with that. There's more that can be done, but that's a great start point. Get used to finding melodies within it. That's what Django did. He was amazing technique, incredible guitar player, and one of the greatest things about him, his strength, is his ability to craft beautiful improvised melodies over chords, and that's what you want to strive to do. It's all very well learning licks and things like that, but try to learn to say something for yourself with these tools, with the scales and the arpeggios. And with this, you know, I say, you internalize the sound and you can start to hear ideas sort of to play, and you know, you can work on things like phrasing, like if I went, my next line here might reflect it. It's sort of similar idea, following on from another, sort of riff orientated if you like. But yeah, that one scale, you can create great things with that. Try and aspire to create melodies that you can sing and you can remember, because they're memorable phrases. Approach 2, using your arpeggios. Now the next phase I would take, and this is really going to capture the gypsy jazz sound, is 4-note minor 6 arpeggios and the dominant 7th as well. So let's take our 3 chords, A minor 6, D minor 6 and E7. As I said, we ignore any other possible chords we could put in for now. So we want these shapes, A minor 6. And whilst that, you know, harmonic minor sounded great, that 6 is so cool sounding. Real gypsy jazz sound straight away. So instead of just A, C, E, now we've got A, C, E, A, C, E, F sharp. Then D minor 6, which we've just added a B to, which is the 6, so D, F, A, B. Then E7 as we do 2 octaves. So that gives us A, D minor 6, E7. We want to be able to play those descending, ascending. That's and then, you know, we've already done ascending. But what about if we put you in the middle somewhere, like on a C, we're in an A minor 6, you could go, or you could go down, as in, plonk, you know, learn them up and down, play them to a metronome with 8 notes, triplets, then go right. If I put myself on an F sharp, where can I go? E is the 5th, A is the root. I could go either direction. Can I find my way out from there? Because really, that's what people with really good fretboard knowledge are able to do. They know their scales and arpeggios, but they can also, you know, they've learnt them and know them to a point where they can play them from anywhere and skip out notes and go in different directions. Whereas when we learn things, we tend to just get fixated on starting always from the root, because that's how we've always done it. So you need to at some point move away from starting there and just start from randomly within it. D minor 6, A minor 6, E7, A minor 6, 2 octaves, 3, 4. Now starting in the middle of an arpeggio, so A minor. Bit of scale there. F. It's F sharp. There's lots we could do here with these arpeggios. There's no substitute for really first, like I said, being able to go 8 notes in each bar. And that is just linking the arpeggios, and it gives you a really good knowledge of where everything is, and you can later on be like, instead of like, I know that's a pool of notes, so I can go, you know, pull a melody from it, because you know the sound of it and you can find it easily. Although that harmonic minor was great, full of loads of character, I think it really missed the 6, as you could hear, and that is a super sound to get, and especially for this gypsy jazz sort of vibe where minor 6 chords are being used rather than, say, minor 7 or plain minor chords. So you can kind of combine the two ideas as well, of course. And when you do kind of stuff like this, it's easy to make a riff. Like if you go root, 3rd, 5th, 6th, you can do the same on the D. Like, or then, which is going 6, root, 3, 5. You know, you can create ideas which have links because you're using the same intervals over the next chord. And what you want to be able to do is, if you put yourself down on an A on the guitar, you need to be able to find A minor 6. And then D minor 6. And from any note within the chord. Like we said, this is just all about good fretboard knowledge. The greater your fretboard knowledge gets, the greater your ability becomes to weave between these arpeggios with fluency. So like going A, C, E, F sharp, knowing there's the F there for the D minor chord, rather than having to jump to a D, I could go, you know, which sounds more fluent because it's a more efficient move. Approach 3 is to use modes for a darker character, specifically Dorian. The scale you really want for the minor 6 chord, the A minor 6 chord, is the Dorian scale, which is a minor scale with a raised 6. So instead of an F like that in the natural minor scale, we're going to have an F sharp. Which is pretty cool. A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A. Really capturing the sound of that minor 6. Then D Dorian. 2 octaves. D, E, F, G, A, B, that's that 6, C, D. And then for the E7 chord, really nice option is E Phrygian dominant, which sounds like this. E, F, G sharp, A, B, C, D, E, root, flat 9, major 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, 6th, flat 7, E. And if you're thinking it's like the harmonic minor scale, it actually is the same notes as an A harmonic minor scale. It's the A harmonic minor scale, but instead of going A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A, it's starting from the E to E, so it's going E, F, G sharp, A, B, C, D, E, and it's got all the chord tones, E, G sharp, B, D, and that's why these 3 scales are great. They all contain the notes of their respective chords. So let's have a go playing over the changes with those 3 scales. So A Dorian, D Dorian, and E Phrygian dominant, which is harder to say than it is to play. D Dorian. Plenty there for you to start to explore. If you're thinking, oh, that's a lot of stuff to get used to, start small, 1 octave of each scale, like this. A Dorian, D Dorian, E Dorian, Phrygian dominant, A Dorian but descending, D Dorian descending, A Dorian going up but from this A, E Phrygian dominant descending, that sort of thing. Sort of, you know, different ways of practicing, you know, developing your fluency with those scales. Sort of like we said earlier, sort of, you know, can you play from the root? Then the next stage is, can you play from the octave back down to that root? Sorry. Can you play from somewhere within it? So if I put you on an E and you're in A Dorian, you know you can go up to the F sharp, or you can go back down to the D. That sort of thing, just to develop that fluency of being able to use your scale from any point within it. So there's your 3 ways of playing over a minor swing. I think they all get some way to capturing the sort of sounds you want to go after when playing over those changes. It's so easy for jazz musicians to get really bogged down in terms of what scales, what arpeggios to use, but they're all just different sounds, and try to think like that. They're all just different sounds you can call upon. Yes, they are physical things on the fretboard, but the sound is far greater than your ability to play them and find them. Yes, you do need that technical fluency and that knowledge, but really think about the sound. What do these sound like? Really train your ear so you can call upon these sounds in improvisation. You have to get these sounds pushed deep into your unconscious to be able to do that. You have to get your fretboard knowledge and your ability with your scales and your arpeggios to the point where you can play them without thinking about them. And it just comes down to practice. Learning the neck, you just have to really dig in and get things down. There's no substitute for it. Learning licks, things like that, little hacks, they can help to a degree, but there's no substitute for really knowing your chord tones and knowing your fretboard and internalizing scales and arpeggios to the point where you can play them in your sleep. You might have the odd lick you wheel out each time or whatever, but overall you want it to be different each time because you're creating different things from the possible sounds of those arpeggios and scales. If you have any questions or comments about today's video, then please leave them below and I'll get back to you. Please hit the like button if you've gained value from today's video, and if you're not already a subscriber, then please consider doing so. I release videos every Wednesday and Saturday, but until next time, see you soon.